We've been using this word preferences and also biases rather than the word needs when we talk about stuff between us. So in my previous relationships and as a marriage and family therapist, which is what my doctorate is in, needs was the thing. What are your needs? I'm going to communicate to you my needs. Can you meet my needs? What are your needs? All this stuff. And, needs has a really heavy feeling to it. Needs means it's necessary. You got to have it. So we, of course, want to come from the orientation that we are whole, sovereign, God self beings, that we don't need any, it's all right here. So we want to just honor that truth. And then also, it does feel really heavy to hear from your partner or say to your partner, I have this need, and all the associations with that. Well, if it can't be met, what does that mean? We have to break up. And so it's just sort of moving away from that word. And gosh, if that word feels really resonating for you, by all means, use your own discernment. But we've been using preferences and biases. So something difficult happens between us, and we might say, well, it's my preference that it could be like this. That would be my preference. So it's just a lot lighter. And it also ties into the orientation of unconditional acceptance for the other. So if I have a preference, I completely still accept the person and all their behavior, but I am also just sharing my truth that this is my preference. It doesn't have to happen. Things are great as they are. You are perfect as you are. I am perfect as I am, but I have a preference.
Yeah.
So that way we stay in our own truth. And the truth is we're different people. So there are going to be areas where different preferences might come up and might be helpful to communicate about, but we do it in this lighter way.
Yeah. And I wanted to say that on occasion, this kind of comes back to boundaries a little bit. On occasion, you may have needs, right?
Yes.
But I think it's very important to take this approach, because if everything is a need, there's no gradation, right? There's no way to distinguish a fairly minor need versus a great need. So like, for example, Tassel and I believe in us being together, what's the word? Exclusively, mm-hmm. Right? We are most comfortable not having other partners and stuff like that. So we could say that it is a need. I could say that at least at this stage, I need a partner that's with me, committed mm-hmm. to me, mm-hmm. right? I think I need that right now. Now, it doesn't mean I couldn't let go of some of that need. If we were to have a discussion about it, I could assess that and determine, is this a thing that I can accept, that she wants to be with other men or women or whatever it is? Am I able to accept that or not? So sometimes we do have explicit sort of needs, and that's another reason it's beneficial to talk about preference first, because most of the stuff we think we need are just really just preferences. We're not going to leave them if they don't do it or whatever, unless we are going to leave them if they just don't stop this activity or behavior, or if they don't adhere to this thing. But we're saying that if you don't meet this need, then it's over, right? And so we have to be able to go from a smaller, less intense sort of desire or preference into something that we really do actually need, that we really do, like if I was very violent or something and got super aggressive, was breaking stuff all the time, Tassel might be like, I need you to not do that. Like, I need you to stop that, right? That could be a thing, right? So it's important to express sometimes when your needs are that, you'll know, right? You'll know that I need someone that doesn't, punch holes in walls and windows and stuff every time we get in an argument. I don't know how to engage with a person that's doing this, so there are needs sometimes. And other times, every other time, it's more like a preference. And unless you do want to communicate sort of an ultimatum, right? That's what a need really is sort of an ultimatum. It's an implied ultimatum, right? I need this, and Tassel said this, otherwise it's over. And so you want to make sure when you use need, that's accurate, right? Like that's what you're saying. You're like, I need this,
right?
Or I don't think this will work.
Yes. And when we use preference, it also opens the possibility that this could be something that I might have an expansion on, and that it might not be a preference. It opens up possibilities of expansion for everybody when we use preference, that it could be a dynamic, changing, evolving issue.
A lot of times our preference is something just we're comfortable with because we kind of know how it goes. We like it. We're okay with it that way. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best.
Or we're trying to avoid a trigger. We're trying to avoid some pain.
Or we're trying to avoid something.
Yeah. And we might expand through that and not need that preference.
We often do.
Everything up. Yeah.
Like you could think about your diet, for example. You could have a very limited diet and then a very, picky diet or something. Then you could expand your preference and try some other stuff. And you may find a food that is your new favorite, amazing food.
Yes.
Had you not expanded your preference and tried to look at things in a different way, you would not have this new favorite food. So it's a similar type of idea that your preference is just sort of a bias. That's why I like the word bias.
Yeah.
I'm like comfortable with this.
It's a snapshot right now. It may shift.
You want to just remember how dynamic and liquid everyone is with their opinions. Think about yourself 10 years ago, or when you were a teenager, and your opinions when you were a teenager, and how much you've changed. Like, we're constantly adjusting our preferences. So just keep that in mind. Yeah,
totally. Okay, 2 more, and I'm going to do this one because it's something I'm so passionate about, and then you'll do the last one.
Yep.
Okay, inner partnership. So I just love this idea so much. So I'll just say that before you and I met about 2 years ago now, I thought, okay, when my life partner comes in, they're just going to sort of give me everything. They're going to give me all this love, and I'm going to feel so complete and whole, and just all of my own sadnesses and wounds and pains will just disappear. And the Hollywood movie idea of relationship. So lo and behold, this beautiful man came into my life as my life partner, and he's so amazing. And at the same time, what I realized was, oh my gosh, all that stuff I still need to deal with. My own pain, my own stories, my own experiences of loneliness, all of that. I still have to handle that. He's like the icing on the cake. I have to bake the cake. I have to make sure the cake is all good. So I love this concept of that. Foundationally, my first partner is myself and source, which is one and the same. And this helps so much with the stability of the external relationship, because if I'm going within first and I'm at the basis sourcing love from myself and spirit, and just all partnered up with myself and able to give myself love and self-respect and sovereignty and all of that, then I am coming from such a grounded, centered, balanced, sturdy place.
Yeah.
And our relationships, we go through things with each other, and sometimes they're not having the best day, and they're not maybe always able to be everything that you might in this Hollywood movie type of way want them to be or whatever, but you always have yourself and you always have source. So we start with that. We start with that. And then again, in the as within, so without understanding, when we're solid within ourselves, we will see our external relationship as really solid as well.
Yeah. I wanted to say too, a lot of people, especially people that have really wanted a partner, right?
Yeah.
Especially people that have come out of a maybe not so harmonious relationship and have just been like, I think I have a lot of love to give to another person. I really want to do that. I really want to be in this partnership. I think I would do really well with it. All that stuff. They can get to this place where they think everything's going to be okay when that person comes in, right? Yes. And everything's going to be great. Then there'll be nothing else to work on because they're here, and that's what I want. That's my main thing that I'm seeking.
Yes.
And what ends up happening is that creates this idea that, oh, this person maybe isn't the best option now. Like they didn't fix everything, so maybe I'll just turn away. We end up not seeing what's right in front of us, which is a beautiful person that is exactly what we've asked for.
Yes.
That we're not content with because we think something sort of erroneous about ourselves, about how this situation is going to make everything okay. A lot of times it's because we've built this idea that, just everything will be okay when.
Yes.
And we apply this to everything. So it's not just relationships. We do this with jobs. We do it with homes, locations of living, or, if we're not with our children and when my children can come live with me again, that's when I'll feel everything will be okay. But it's just not true. It's just not true. We have to be okay within ourselves first, and foremost, and no one else can do that for us. So nothing can come in and heal us or fix us. It's all done within. It's a choice that we take to heal ourselves, to love ourselves, and to be comfortable in ourselves with ourselves.
And truly, the external partnership is just a reflection of your inner partnership. It's when you're really able to love yourself, respect yourself, honor yourself, you will absolutely experience the same externally.
Yep. And like just a really quick practical example of that is if I don't feel like I have value, Tassel will do behaviors and I'll see reflected my lack of value. I'll see that, she does something and I don't feel like I have a value. I don't feel like I'm being considered. I don't feel like my experience is valuable to her. I don't feel like she cares or whatever it is. But it's because I don't feel valuable totally. I don't feel a purity in my own value and love.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing that reflected in the reality. If that story and that disharmony in myself didn't exist, I wouldn't even perceive it. So she'd just do her thing and I'd be like, oh, that's great. Oh yeah.
And I'll just share an example too, sort of on the other side of the spectrum. Maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago, I started saying to myself, like, I am a goddess. I am a goddess. Like an affirmation.
It can feel a little awkward to say that stuff too.
It's funny. Like I'm being narcissistic or something, but I
think
it
feels
really,
like that. Yeah.
I think it's really actually super healthy and great.
Yeah. But I don't think it's narcissistic.
A new practice for me. And I am not exaggerating. Within a few days of me using that affirmation, you called me a goddess.
That's funny.
And I had no one had ever called me a goddess before. And so this is true. As within, so without.
Just another example. Last night, I made the process flow chart for the method.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. But over time, I've developed a lot more of a appreciation for myself and sort of achieved a bit of this inner partnership. Tassel just seems to reflect more and more to me my strengths, like things I'm good at. She She seems to just be very outward with them. And the difference is that now I hear her, right? I hear so she was doing this quite often throughout the relationship. But earlier on, I was like, I don't, that's nice of you to say. I don't believe you.
But
right.
You really feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, is that even if your partner is exemplifying and trying to express their love for you or their whatever acceptance, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you don't feel it within, you won't receive it. You won't receive, you
literally won't hear it.
You basically don't hear it. You ignore it more or less, right? You can't hold it because you don't believe it in yourself, and what you believe is what you receive. So, it's
like, you're blind to it.
Exactly.
Okay. The last concept here, number 16.
Walking each other home. This was, I don't know where you got this quote from, but you said this to me the other day, or maybe on the stream you said it. This is a really awesome idea. And we've talked about it throughout the whole discussion, I guess.
Yeah.
That the relationship is the vessel for everyone to return and remember their wholeness. So the wholeness is already there. Yep. You're already home. But we've confused ourselves. We forgot who we are. We forgot what we're doing. We forgot our purpose, and we forgot our divine nature and our birthright as divine beings.
Yep.
So what we do in relationships is at this stage in sort of evolution, we tend to come together to walk each other home, right? To walk each other back into the wholeness that we have forgotten about. And then after that, we start to sort of pursue our magnus opus, or our great work, whatever it is, usually as partners. So this idea that again, the relationship is a vessel for your expansion. It's a vessel for you to remember yourself. Your partner, they may be triggering you left, right, and center, but they are doing so to purify, to help you remember yourself. They're not, it's more of a camaraderie around, you can think of two souls, just like they're just loving each other constantly. That's all they do is love each other. The humans get a bit into little fights and blah, 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 and whatever. But the souls, the divinity that's within both of them is just constantly like, look at what they're doing. They're so cute. Look at them. They're fighting. It's beautiful. Look, they're going to expand so much. Look at how amazing we've arranged this. These guys are in a big fight right now, right? Like the souls are sort of singing to it a little bit. And of course there's compassion and stuff for the human that's upset and all that. But the bigger picture is kind of seen, which is that this expression of these two people coming into this relationship together is going to lead them back to their heart.
Yes. I love that. It makes me want to cry. It's so beautiful. It's just the whole thing.
I don't think I've ever seen you cry or get emotional. I don't think I've ever noticed that. I'm just kidding.
Thank you for walking me home.
Thank you. Thank you for walking me home, showing me my shadows. That's why I love this picture too, because it's two couples walking and their shadow. They're like, you're looking at the shadow.
Yes, because we're really helping each other see our own shadow. Yeah.
Exactly. And I wanted to highlight, Tassel mentioned this earlier to me. We started out with the Godself, and that, we're trying to achieve our Godself, hold that state. And then we ended it with, that's the entire purpose of the relationship, is that we're walking each other home to that, to remember that and recall that.
Yes. Yes. So we want to embody as much as possible our Godself in our communication. And then really the whole point of the entire relationship, including all of the communication, is just for us to do exactly that, is to embody our Godself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah. That's the whole point.